Is the letter of Revelation symbolic or literal? One of the great arguments over the interpretation of Revelation is whether it is to be taken symbolically or literally. For the sake of time, let's just cut to the chase and allow God to tell us if we are to interpret Revelation symbolically or literally. He tells us in the opening verse of the letter. Revelation 1:1 says, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show to his bondservants the things which must soon take place. And he sent and communicated it by his angel to his bondservant John." What is said here? The revealing of the events to come were given by Jesus Christ and communicated by his angel to the Apostle John. In other words, all that the letter of Revelation communicates was given by Jesus Christ and communicated by his angel. History from God's vantage point is about to be revealed. But notice this word, communicated. The Greek verb semino was used to indicate the manner of Jesus' revelation to John. When you look elsewhere in the New Testament, this word communicated means to symbolize, signify, or communicate by symbols. It would be significant to recall that the related noun is semeion, which means sign, in which the New Testament used for Jesus' miracles as signs or symbols of his divine power. The word in Revelation 1:1 could merely mean make known or communicate, and refer to the general idea of communication, as it often did in the ancient world. However, the fact that Revelation 1:1 is an allusion to Daniel 2:28 through 29 and Daniel 2:45 confirms that here the word does mean symbolize. John speaks here of four critical elements that we can't miss. Number one, a revelation. Number two, God showed it. Number three, the revelation is concerning what will come to pass. Lastly, God signified it. When you refer back to Daniel 2, the only other place in the Bible where these same four elements occur, it's the account of Daniel's interpretation of the king's dream concerning the statue. God reveals the mystery in which he showed what would take place, and he signified it. In Revelation 1:1, John deliberately uses the language of signify from Daniel 2 in part to portray that what God had been showing him is likewise symbolic. Most of the things that are about to unfold are not to be taken literally, but each refers symbolically to another reality or set of realities. So for my literalist friends out there, if we want to take the letter of Revelation literally, the first line of the letter tells us that God is signifying or symbolizing the events that will take place in history. So to take this letter literally would be to take it symbolically. With that understood, this does not mean that they have no meaning or historical reference, but that the meaning is to be found symbolically, and almost always within the context of Old Testament references which run through the visions that God gave to John. There is always a literal meaning underlying the symbolic meaning, though this literal meaning is often about spiritual realities and sometimes about physical realities, both of which have to do with some kind of historical reality. This means that we must distinguish between the vision given to John, what that vision symbolizes, and to what or whom the vision may refer. For instance, the woman on the beast in Revelation 17 symbolizes the ungodly world system, that is, its economic, cultural, and religious aspects combined together. This worldly system's values are opposed to God's values for his people. The mistake is to bypass the visionary and symbolic and go straight to the literal interpretation, according to which a literal woman on a beast is referred to. This kind of interpretation could turn Revelation into some kind of science fiction fantasy film, which is bizarre, but unfortunately so often set forth by those who take the entire book literally. Another example we see is how John bases the plagues of Revelation 8, 9, and 16 on the plagues of the Exodus. Does this mean we are to predict that these literal plagues will fall on the world in some future time? Well, it's highly unlikely. What John is speaking of is the judgment of God that is coming in various ways. The exact historical reference or references of which must be drawn out by examination of the context in the way in which they are alluded to. When we interpret this way, it opens up a far broader sphere of interpretation. John speaks of horses with heads of lions, out of whose mouths come fire, smoke, and brimstone, and whose tails are like serpents with heads. He speaks of locusts which look like horses, have crowns on their heads, yet faces of men, the hair of women, the teeth of lions, and breastplates of iron. He speaks of the Lamb standing though slain with 7 horns and 7 eyes. He speaks of the mysterious living creatures full of eyes with 6 wings, and having the appearance of a lion, a calf, a man, and an eagle. None of these can be interpreted literally, outside of an understanding of Revelation as a strange work of science fiction. Friends, Drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Do you take revelation symbolically or do you take it literally?